What's up? It's Jake Brend with your CFTV Daily update, and let's start with the news of the day. The Iowa State men's basketball roster is fully intact as freshman forward from Germany, Dominykas Pleta, is on campus and dunking at Hilton Coliseum. Pleta had been approved for his visa weeks ago, but due to delays, he wasn't able to pick it up and was stuck in Germany, missed the first about week and a half of summer workouts. But no worries. Pleta, along with the entire roster, is now at Hilton. And remember this, Pleta is 20 years old. He'll be 21 before the season starts. He's got 4 years of eligibility. He's been playing professionally in Germany for the last couple of years, averaged over 19 points and 10 rebounds a game in the third best German league this last year. Not quite sure what Pleta will provide his first year, but again, he's almost 21 years old, not your typical freshman, and it really is the first true foreign prospect in the TJ Otzelberger era. Excited to see what Pleta can do and some practice clips from Iowa State. As the 4th of July quickly approaches, that means it is pretty much the halfway point of summer, at least from a sports perspective. Football season is almost here, and I want to look at the 2025-26 calendar year as a whole for Iowa State athletics in the 4 major sports. And specifically within those 4 major sports, I'm going to pick one player per team that I think is being overlooked heading in to their respective seasons. And let me start with Ben Bramer, the tight end who dealt with injuries in all of 2024. He only played in 8 games, and that included missing the bulk of the Big 12 season after getting injured against UCF in October. Bramer's play as a freshman in 2023, a freshman All-American to be exact, indicated the type of player he is and the type of player he can be. That was mostly robbed by that left leg injury. So what I'm looking for in 2025 is him to be a primary target, because Xavier Townsend and Chase Sewell are really talented, and I expect them to be great, but they still will be a drop-off from Higgins and Knoll. It's impossible not to be, especially as they'll have to develop some chemistry early on. Bramer's ability to run after the catch, as well as being a possession tight end and the type of offense that I think Iowa State will run, maybe more within the hashes, I think Bramer, as long as he stays healthy, really has a chance for a breakout year that 2024 couldn't be. In men's basketball, I'm going to go with Nate Heise. The 3 returning starters understandably get the headlines. Retaining Tamin Lipsey, Milan Momcilovic, and Joshua Jefferson is the equivalent to bringing in a top 10 transfer class. But Heise's recommitment to the program so early on in the portal, I think, has been a little bit slept on. You could argue that Heise was ISU's most steady player other than Kurt Jones the last 6 weeks of the season. He only averaged 5 points per game all year long, but he was at 9 a game from mid-February on at 60% three-point shooting. We all saw it during January. His confidence took a massive hit, and there were points where he looked unplayable no matter what he did on the defensive side, because you could tell that he didn't feel like he belonged in the Big 12. At least that's what it looked like for someone that's not inside the locker room. But luckily, he overcame it, and he proved that not only does he belong on the floor, that he can be a vital 3-and-D player in the Big 12. I expect him to be even better in his second year with that second-year TJ Otzelberger bump that we've seen from so many Cyclone transfers over the years. In women's basketball, I'm going to go with Ariana Jackson because Audie Crooks and Addie Brown are off the table. Also, new point guard Jada Williams is, because she's got all the hype coming around her. Jackson has shown flashes as a dynamic 2 guard, especially on the defensive end, but 2025 and 26 will be the year where she takes that consistent step forward on offense. Her volume went up as a sophomore, but her efficiency went down. I would expect that to level out after experiencing a bigger role over the course of an entire year. She clearly had some growing pains by taking on more of a role as a sophomore. But she had a few different games in February and March where she really impressed me as a third option behind Crooks and Brown, when Emily Ryan was maybe more deferring to Jackson. If she can play like she did in that road game against Cincinnati, she could really solidify herself as a third option, and I think that is desperately needed for this Iowa State women's basketball team. You hope that between Jada Williams and Ariana Jackson, you can get that from the guard spot. You can throw Sydney Harris in there as well. I'm going to cheat a little bit with this one because there's nothing about younger Bastida that flies under the radar. He's the type of guy that always brings fireworks when he's on the map. But from a larger scale perspective, I do think it's a little bit under talked about or underappreciated that Bastida is coming back. Kevin Dresser did a great job bolstering the lineup at 184 and 197 with transfers Isaac Dean and Rocky Elam. That's gotten a ton of hype, and rightfully so. But when you pair that with a potential national champion when healthy, it's just massive. For the non-wrestling diehards, Bastida was coming off of his best year as a Cyclone last year and battled a knee injury and only wrestled twice before being shut down for the season. That obviously really hurt the 2025 team that dealt with no shortage of injuries. But now he's back for another season, and having an All-American to close out duels will be massive. Massive for Iowa State's roster, as they're certainly good enough to compete for a Big 12 title. There you have it. Ben Bramer, Nate Heisey, Ariana Jackson, and younger Bastida. Do you disagree with me? Do you agree? Is there someone that I'm overlooking? Feel free to leave a comment, and thanks for your support of Cyclone Fanatic.